welcome. Council is back in session. This is Council of Dads. This meeting will come to order. I am chair member Andy Cole, joined by chair member Cole Osborne. Welcome back, Cole.
Thanks very much, Andy.
Yeah, you had a good week?
I had a great week.
Mm-hmm. This show gave me a lot to think about. I've watched this one twice now.
Yeah, I always, the way I watch it is I watch it live with just for myself. I don't make any notes. I don't think about it. I just exist in the world and I take it in and I enjoy it. And then afterwards, I watch it again, and that's when I make my little marks, my little pen marks for what I want to talk about with you. But right. Yeah, so I always do watch every episode at least twice.
Right. It's like reading the Bible, right? You can go through it once just to enjoy it. Enjoy it as a book, and then later you go back through, you make your notes, you write your little, in the margins there.
What do they really mean by, XYZ?
Yeah. You got to think about it. And I like keeping my notes and kind of going back over the episodes. And and I'll say we had a little discussion at the end of last episode. Listeners may remember what we talked about, which was Robin, her mind may be wandering to a place where is she ready to move on to a new relationship post Scott. And boy, oh boy, did this episode answer a lot of those questions and deliver on that discussion that we had.
That's right. I remember saying to you at the end of last week's episode that I thought the door might be open a crack for a romantic possibility, yes. But I believe the door was wide open.
Oh, I didn't see a door at all.
Yeah, the first 6 minutes of this episode were fast and wild right away.
I felt that too. You know what I realized is just past the 6 minute point, the opening credits happened. The first 6 minutes was the cold open of this episode. That is how much, that is how big the table they had to set was this time around.
Yeah. And it was fast and fun and, quite frankly, a little bit racy for what I have become used to for this show.
Oh boy. Okay. You're getting me excited to dive in. So let's do it. We will dive in now to episode 4, the 6th stage. So one thing we have gotten used to in the way that Council of Dads tells its story is that each episode kind of belongs to a character as far as point of view of some scenes and the narration. This time around, we have an Ollie episode, and in the voiceover over the top, Ollie is introducing us to the 5 stages of grief, the DABDA formula, as we know. It's denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. But then Ollie lays out a 6th stage none of us were prepared for. So we see Robin out for a jog, and she kind of catches the eye of some cute dude jogger as they pass each other. File this man away in your brain because this is going to come back. And then we cut to a scene with Robin and Ollie, and Robin admits that she feels she's maybe emotionally cheating on Scott.
Yeah, she starts by telling Ollie that she's continually seeing her hairstylist just so that the man will touch her hair and her head, right. The feelings that gives her. And she's also into the guy on her jog and another guy at her coffee shop. In fact, Robin says, quote, "I'm having sex fantasies with almost every man I come into contact with."
Wow. Yeah. I'm realizing we're going to have to put a warning on this episode when I upload it. Adult content, everybody. This is a very different Council of Dads. And I gotta say, I thought usually I feel like emotionally this show will have my back in every scene, and it usually does. But in this scene, Ollie is intrigued by this information. I was a bit taken aback. I mean, I love the show, so I'm still, I'm tuned in, but Ollie kind of wants to explore this angle. He thinks it's a healthy thing for Robin.
Yeah, and I guess I'm always open to peeling back new layers of characters. I sort of always took Ollie to be more of a uptight kind of guy, but he's really leaning into this idea of Robin finding a new romantic partner. Robin tells him that she feels like a horny teenager, and it doesn't even flap Ollie in the slightest. In fact, Ollie seems to be pushing her in the direction of finding another partner.
And we cut from Robin saying she feels like a horny teenager to Theo at school, and two girls come up and kind of start flirting with Theo.
Oh yeah,
one of the girls
That's wild
says,
stuff too.
"Yeah, one of the girls says we saw you throw the ball last week in the game."
Yeah, while it turns out that he wasn't actually throwing it, he was catching it.
He was
because
catching it.
Theo's a receiver, but the girls are very keen about Theo, very interested. One in particular, they want to make sure that he's coming to the pep rally, and they drop that Theo needs to get initiated.
Ooh, yeah, this was a flag for me.
Yeah, I don't want to delve into too much of where my mind went, but it was not a place my mind was used to going while watching the Council of Dads, I assure you.
No. I had to top up my glass of wine when I was watching this scene. I was like, okay, I better strap in. 2 minutes of the show have passed, by the way, at this point. Right. So after this, we go to Luli and Evan, and they are bidding on the house that we saw last episode that Evan is determined to fix up and sort of be the spark that ignites a fire of reconstruction in this neighborhood. And then from there, Larry and Anthony are at the Perry home. JJ is starting a puzzle because he's upset. He has nothing to do. He's not invited to the birthday party of the girl we saw last episode, who happens to be Larry's daughter. Which is interesting because I didn't pick up in that episode that they were friends, but apparently they were already friends.
Yeah, or classmates at the very least, right?
So after this, we are back to Luli and Evan. Their game faces have worked. They won the bidding war for the house, $54,000, which is their entire nest egg.
Even a little bit over budget, right?
A little bit. I think they were willing to spend 50, and they went up to 54. Ollie's voiceover returns here because he mentioned a sixth stage. He didn't tell us what it is, and he said this is the dangerous stage. The sixth stage that it seems Luli is going through as well in her own way, in this house, is desire. And thus is the theme of this episode.
Desire. Feels so good, but it could also be dangerous. After the credits, we see Robin jogging in what quickly reveals itself to be sort of a fantasy about the jogger that she runs past. And in this one, the jogger tells her that she needs to do up her shoelace, right. And then you think she's past him, but then when she turns back around, he's there, and he's pretty sensually feeling up her leg, right?
Oh, he ties her shoe for her first,
right?
He doesn't let me get that, and then he's touching her leg, and he's running his hands up, and Robin's just kind of, at first you see her just sort of motionless and shocked. And then it looks like she is into this. And at the time, I'm like, how is this happening? He passed her, right? For me, I'm confused if this is real. And then we realize that it was a fantasy because a horn, just a loud horn, breaks into the scene. This horn just honking. And we realize, Robin has fallen into a fantasy. And the horn is coming from a truck behind her. And wouldn't you know it, it's Larry. Larry's trying to get Robin's attention. And then we go to Robin and Ollie. They're in line at the coffee, like a food truck coffee trailer that's parked outside the hospital. And they are talking about Robin's, the ongoing sixth stage situation with her.
Desire. And Dr. Ollie says he's been Googling her situation, that he used the search horny widow, and he tells Robin that she probably shouldn't look that one up. But then he also tells her about a more helpful search that he did, where he found the Hot Widows Collective blog. There was a woman in the same sort of situation as Robin, and she told her brother about it. She told her brother that she really wanted to kiss a guy, just as an experiment.
Right.
And, Robin's immediate reaction to Ollie is, don't you dare pimp me out on Twitter.
Yeah.
But it sort of, lights a spark, right?
Yeah, I think Robin took Ollie way too literally in that point, right? He was just bringing up the idea.
That's right. You can be whatever version of the Horny Widows Collective that you want.
Exactly.
Whatever you need the Horny Widows Collective to be, that's what it can be for you. But I think Robin sort of needs time to ease into that idea.
Our next scene is, it starts out simple enough. Just Robin, doing some work at the computer in her office, and there's a knock at the door.
Well, just to slow you down, I'm pretty sure Robin's reading something on her computer there.
Oh yeah, she has a website open, and this guy comes to the door.
Well, the website is actually the Hot Widows Collective, which was referenced earlier, and it's a blog post.
Okay, I didn't even realize that.
Rad Widow Wants to Smooch.
That's the name of the blog post?
Yeah, I found it really interesting, so I took the time to transcribe it all. I did a screen grab, and I had to zoom in.
Okay.
It was a little bit blurry, but I think I got all of it.
Oh, all right. Yeah. Go ahead if you want.
The article was penned by Nora Reynolds, and she writes, "Here's the thing. Just because you've gone through the worst pain of your life in losing the person you promised to love till death do you part, doesn't mean that you don't want to smooch. And why not? Smooching is awesome. Arguably, smooching is one of the best parts of being alive. Remember when you were like 14 years old and your crush leaned over nervously while you were watching an episode of SpongeBob SquarePants and neither of you were ever the same? There's nothing like two lips meeting for the first time. Tongue? Yes, please. Kissing without tongue is like pizza without cheese. Shout out to my vegans. But the tricky part is this. Smooching with tongue usually happens at the end of a date, or at least at the end of a conversation. But when you've recently gone through the worst pain of your life, guess what? You don't want to talk to anybody. You don't want to explain. You don't want to confide." And then it goes on. There's a little bit of subtext after that, and it says, Nora Reynolds is a founding member of the Hot Widows Collective. She's an avid supporter of lima beans and avocado toast. So I just. So
that's what it said on the screen when
on the screen
opens,
at the start of the scene
that Robin is looking at. Okay, yeah, no, I didn't even see that was there, but, So a guy knocks at the door, and it's a character we haven't seen before, but he's dressed like a doctor, so he must work there in the hospital. And he informs Robin, "Hey, Robin, we're great friends. We know each other really well, but I'm going to be moving off to Florida, I believe." He got a new position, and that seems to be kind of the end of the scene. But again, like the jogger, file this guy away because this is going to come up again.
So then right after that scene, we go to Luli and Evan asking the council for $20,000 to do some upgrades to their home. And the council, out of hand, is pretty nonplussed by the state of the home.
Yeah.
You can kind of tell what the answer is going to be right away, and they do. They deny the loan. And then Larry drops that he knows a few bankers.
Yeah. So
he could maybe get them out of a official contract that they've signed to buy a home.
Yeah, he could do some business stuff and get them out of there. Because as we've learned in previous episodes, Larry is a businessman.
That's right,
and he loves it. And I wrote that doing businessman stuff seems to be what gets Larry excited. Like that's his desire. His eyes light up the way about like I can set up a couple of meetings. The same way Evan's eyes lit up when he saw that house.
Oh, I didn't put that together, but now that you mention it, it does make a ton of sense. Yeah, his desire is non-sexual, but he does really, really get sort of into the idea that he could be the one to fix it. Maybe there's something that could be done about this, right?
Yeah, in a business way.
Mm-hmm. And so that group meeting is a real springboard into the council talking about Theo and how he's in need of having the sex talk. Mm-hmm. So Larry kind of pitches the idea that they should be all in on abstinence as being the cool way to go.
Well, not necessarily. I say we sell abstinence as cool.
I say we don't do anything.
But it's basically out of hand and immediately decided that that won't be the right play, and that it'll be Anthony and Robin that deliver the sex talk.
You want the cool dad on the council to be the one to talk to Theo.
And sort of as a button to that scene, Robin also gets a text on her phone, and she lets Dr. Ollie know that Henry from Maternal Fetal Medicine is willing to kiss her. Ooh. So that's exciting news for her, and just a continuation of the very, very sexy theme of this episode.
So there's a quick we get a quick glimpse of the party right after this, where Theo and Sister Charlotte are both there, and I was ready for like a teen house party kind of thing, and the first thing you see pretty much is there's some adults there, some teachers out in the yard.
Not the sort of party that I went to in high school.
No.
Usually if there was an adult there, it was just one person's sad father.
But cool father.
Yeah.
And then we are back at the Perry house for what I call the she's all that scene of this episode.
Oh yeah, wow. Robin is perpetrating a little bit of a ruse on Anthony and Larry, pretending that she's heading out for a PTA meeting.
Sure.
When we all know she's really heading out for a kissing session.
But smooches, yeah.
So what makes it the she's all that scene is that when Robin appears at the top of the stairs, dressed to the nines with makeup and a dress on, Anthony and Larry literally stop in their tracks. If they were cartoons, their tongues would roll out from their heads and down onto the floor. Yeah. Their eyes would bulge out, and they would say "Awooga." Yeah. I guarantee you. They were stunned.
They would take off one of their shoes and hit themselves on the head with it.
Over and over.
Yeah. They'd stomp one foot on the floor really hard over and over and over.
Oh yeah,
and clouds would be
maybe
rising up,
using their fingers on their lips to do this, because they were in awe of Robin's beauty.
Like a steam whistle would come out of the top of their head, and steam would shoot out.
You could quite easily picture that and more. And she did look stunning, I have to say that.
Oh, it was great. She looked excellent. But as Robin even realizes, maybe I'm overdressed for a PTA meeting.
Right. That's right. She did kind of go and tone it back down, and it was more of a understated look, although Robin is gorgeous, completely gorgeous.
So we were brought back down to reality after this, because JJ comes down the stairs and Larry is there, and he says, I'm sorry, I couldn't break through with my daughter. I can't get you into this birthday party. But
I was thinking I can take you bowling tomorrow.
I hate bowling!
For a little guy, he sure packs a punch, eh? For a child actor, that's there's a lot of mustard on that "I hate bowling." Where does he have to go to make himself sound like that, to have those feelings,
Right. Yeah. Sometimes you'll see a child actor and you're wondering, well, if you're only a kid, if they haven't lived these emotions, how are they really portraying them? What are they drawing on? And I couldn't. That's why I had to watch it a few times. I don't know. I
hate to go there, right? Yeah. It's like you like the songs of the Jackson 5, but you don't like how they got there, right?
Well, the lead singer, I think, had a difficult life.
So we cut back to the high school party, which, again, unlike any of the high school parties I've ever been to, includes a moving prayer by the coach of the football team.
They're all gathered around, yeah.
And then it's happening. Then we're right into it. There's the initiation of Theo by the senior girls, and the wheels are sort of in motion. And Theo's trying to, he played the part of the tough guy. He played like he wanted this to happen. But when it starts to go down, he tries to squirm out of it a little. He says that he's there with his sister and he has to take her home. Mm-hmm. But then the senior girls kind of tell Theo, "Hey, listen, your sister can come too to this initiation."
Oh,
and
I was like, "What?" Yeah.
What's that mean?
What does that mean? I've been thrown for several loops by this party already.
It was a little much. And if we're being realistic, it's the first time that the show really pushed me to a limit of where I was even comfortable watching. Right?
Yeah.
Because I count on this show to keep it in bounds. Right?
Yeah.
I'm willing for, I'm okay with racy, but lewd, and I think we were dancing right on the line of lewd there.
And these are still kids.
Yeah.
What are we in for? I have this written down on here. Big letters, where is this going? I wrote that down on my notebook. And then small letters, got to refill the wine glass because my wine glass was empty at this point too.
I didn't know where it was going.
Yeah.
And it's one of those cases where I don't like not knowing where it's going.
The only thing that kept me still being able to watch, first of all, couldn't find the remote, so couldn't stop the thing. But secondly, is I know that this show will answer my questions pretty quick. And my hope was that they were still going to pull it out and it was still going to be something keeping in character that I've come to expect from Council of Dads.
Yeah, me too.
We get one short break from this, so they're making you wait for it, but it took some of the pressure off at least. Robin goes to meet Dr. Henry for a kiss in Dr. Henry's car. She's got some big misgivings, and the kiss ends up not happening there. And they just kind of hold hands for a bit as friends and sort of talk things out. But we get to the initiation scene, and it is something very different, and I did not see this coming at all. What about you, Cole?
I certainly didn't.
No.
It was a shocker, and it was also a big sigh of relief for me because what happens is, and honest to goodness, this is the loveliness of the show showing through.
This felt like a book.
Yeah.
This felt like a scene from a book. Sorry.
What it actually turns out is that the two senior girls were actually going to initiate Theo and Charlotte into the Dead Parents Society.
Yeah.
And what that is a society of kids that have all lost a parent that meet in a graveyard to talk about it. And there's no kind of funny business at all. They just they're just sweetly there for each other as support.
There's a grave of a young girl who's named Eloise. And
Right.
it's like a statue of a young girl or an angel. It was tough to tell. The scene was dark. And they talk to her. They say it makes them feel better. I assume Dead Parent Society is a reference to Dead Poets Society. That's a movie that came out in 1989. And now we're back at the house where Larry is bringing JJ a plate of cookies. He's trying to make up because JJ didn't get to go to this party. And he's sad. He's working on this puzzle. But JJ is telling Larry, I missed 2 parties already.
I missed 2 parties last year when I became a boy. Both because the parents freaked out. This is my 3rd. I wish parents would just get their act together. What did you do to make her hate you so much?
So now we cut to Dr. Ollie and his partner Peter Richards, and they're fighting during their couples massage session, even bringing up the specter of divorce during the fight. It's pretty intense.
That comes up out of nowhere. And they're also face down on massage tables during this conversation.
That's right.
Very strange.
That's right. And so it's like, obviously they were hoping for a good time, for some bonding, but things just keep going from bad to worse. And there doesn't really seem to be any relief. And that's exactly when Peter Richards, Dr. Oliver's husband, notices that someone has broke wind.
This got me.
Yeah. I think it got everyone. I think it was really needed. They realize one of the masseuses has broke wind, and it's so pungent that they both just want to cut and get out of there right away.
Oh yeah, we got to get out of here.
It's so fun. It's exactly the kind of joke that I like. Oh. I like it in movies when this happens, when guys smell farts and it's gross for them. It's always so funny, and it's funny this time.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot of pressure off too.
Oh yeah. At this point in the episode, we just you needed relief, right?
You feel way better once it happens.
Just letting it all out, clearing the air. So then the show's just ripping right along. We blast over to a really quick scene with Robin. She's back in the car with Dr. Henry, and that kiss that they were kind of avoiding before, that ends up happening. But that's not the only thing that happens. Theo and Charlotte are coming back from Dead Parents Society, and Theo happens to see them parked because, again, they're right around the corner. He sees his mom kissing some guy, and we know that this is going to come up before the end of the episode.
Yeah, and Theo sure does bring it up right away with Robin. It turns into big fireworks and
pretty explosive scene.
Yeah, no doubt. And eventually Theo is upstairs crying in his bed. Robin's trying to console him, and Theo basically just tells her, just get out of here. I can't deal with this anymore.
Yeah.
So then we join Robin standing on the dock, and she's just kind of throwing stones into the lake and feeling a little forlorn, you can tell. And they continue talking about dating, and Anthony says, I think it'd be okay if you started dating, and he reminds her that that's something that Scott wanted. And the implications are pretty clear in that moment that I think Anthony wouldn't mind dating Robin if it happened.
Yeah.
If it came around in sort of a natural way, I think.
Even in the moment.
I think Anthony's amenable.
Yeah. Even in that moment, as she's selling herself short, she says,
"Hi, I'm Robin. My husband died. I have 5 kids. And this weird cabal of men that helps me raise them."
You feel that, right? And she asks aloud, she says that, and she says, "Who wants to date that girl?"
Yeah.
And you know what that's met with? Silence, but a long stare from Anthony.
That is a loaded silence.
I think his eyes said yes.
Well, we were right last episode that Robin might be interested in dating again.
Yeah, we guessed right there, and we might be guessing right again.
Yeah.
But then, as with many things wrought with sexual tension in this episode, it's interrupted yet again by Larry. He's not in a truck this time, but he might as well be laying on the horn, right?
Yeah.
He intervenes, and he tells Anthony, you're stepping way too close to the line here, and basically you shouldn't be getting involved with Robin in not so many words. I understand Larry's concerns, but it's not a lot of fun as a viewer.
No, I wanted to see where that scene was going to go.
I like it on TV when characters get together.
Yeah, I like it. And characters I already know. I've known for a little bit. It's more familiar for me that way. In that scene, this was the main issue I took with this scene was if I want cold water, I want Robin to be throwing stones in it. I don't want it poured all over the scene, Larry. Thanks very much.
And so, it happened, and so we had to watch it because we watch what happens, but it wasn't the best thing that could have happened.
No.
It'd be a lot of fun if Anthony and Robin got together. They're two of the main people in the show.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just had a moment of really despising Larry, I guess.
I resented Larry in that moment. I think understood how Theo's been feeling.
Mm-hmm. And Anthony.
And JJ.
Yeah.
Probably Charlotte.
Probably everyone.
Yeah. Robin, definitely.
All of Larry's family.
Yeah, I was going to say his daughter, his grandkids. I didn't really know who he was even, but yeah, his daughter definitely, for sure. He had a son we saw in the photograph in the last episode.
The people whose businesses he preys on in a predatory way.
Yeah, he seemed a bit heartless anytime the business stuff comes up. Oh yeah, we didn't even talk about Luli and Evan definitely resent him because he was all business about the house. He was the one who kind of pushed hardest for them not to get the money. Wow, yeah.
I don't like Larry.
I can take you bowling tomorrow.